Good evening, everyone. It's the West Ham Irons channel, West Ham player rating show. Hope everyone is well. You can see the result. Frankie was there himself, so it gives him a chance this evening to, perhaps think about what he saw and his kind of feelings, reflections. So this show is going to be about, we're going to go through the team lineup, go through the individual players, see what we think happened on the pitch, give a kind of a rating and take it from there, really. I did a quick reaction show after full time where I kind of summarized it as a lot of CDMs in there, but then the amount of shots that went against our goal, like all the games this season, is kind of concerning. And I did single out Agard as, again, sort of a worry for me once again. And it's just that if you set up to defend and you put a lot of people behind the ball, then why are so many shots going against our goal? And with Areola, it's a tough job. That's just the thing I'm thinking about at the moment. And then obviously, listen, we are scoring goals every game. I get that. But as we get into it, we didn't really have a focal point up front. We had a lot of numbers behind the ball, but that didn't stop the shots raining on our goal throughout the game. And we were 1-0 up at half time. We let in 3 in the second half. So that's kind of what happened. Frankie, you were there, mate. What kind of day did you have? What kind of feelings did you have going to the match on the train? And what did you think of it all, mate?
So just really glad you asked, because there's something about the match day experience that is lifting. It's more vibrant, mate. It's feeling like an atmosphere again. So as soon as you hit, no matter what side of the stadium you come from, whether you come from Hackney Wick side or whether you come from sort of Stratford Tube Station or Stratford International, mate, there's just an atmosphere that's starting to really build up. Obviously, the podium bar now is, all members and Orbit Live. They have a DJ. They had a live band there today, and that was making a lot of noise on the approach.
Mark Ward, isn't it? Mark Ward's down there.
Mark Ward's down there, doing his bit. So that's really vibrant and lively. Then obviously you've got the La La DJs. Let's all have a disco at the Heineken Bar, which is also really, really loud. And I don't know, mate. I even put out a tweet just saying even Rusty B today was playing some tunes, mate. He was really playing some tracks that were getting people a little bit more lively and up for it. So, mate, there's something about that. It was the first time I can honestly say ever going over there that I felt like I was at an occasion, like I was at the football again. Normally, the atmosphere is quite forced. Normally, the atmosphere is quite flat. All the way sort of walking up to the stadium, it's really silent and not much of a build-up. But it's starting to feel like a real match day over there now, mate. So that's a good thing. And then before the game, they brought out Paolo Di Canio, and mate, it was superb. I mean, he come out. The crowd was fantastic. Anyone who is of the younger generation who have any doubts on what West Ham legends are and whether he's a West Ham legend or whether Declan Rice a legend, blah blah blah. Paolo Di Canio is a West Ham legend, mate, and the reception he got from that crowd. It just shows you exactly why. It was fantastic. And then he turned around and said, I want to sing Bubbles with you all. He started singing Bubbles down the microphone, and the whole stadium started singing Bubbles to quite a noisy level, mate. So, before the game, I was right up for it. I felt like we was going to pull something off. I really did. I had a lot of belief. That's just, I wanted to say that, mate, because sometimes I can be quite negative. We can all be, a little bit downhearted that we lost our spiritual home. But today it felt like a match day again. It was good.
Atmosphere was good coming through the TV, to be honest. It was a really, really good atmosphere. My oldest son, who's got a season ticket, mate, you won't believe it. I don't know what time he came home last night. He didn't get up for the match. So it's a wasted ticket, which is awful to hear about. I'd rather give it to someone like you or, someone. It's a category A game. He's banned one his season ticket. So I've just thought I'd tell the world what a naughty boy he is. It happens to us. I know it happens now and again. I shook him out of 1-1. I said, mate, you going? And he didn't answer. Listen, Yeah, early 20s, and yeah, he's had a hard week. Either way, whichever way you look at it, I've just realised, Lee, that I'm blocking a bloody chat. You know, I put that bloody thing below me. So what I will do, I will call out your name and see what you're saying, and I'll sort it out for next time. But Lee is saying evening, Jazz. So I hope you are good. So the podium. So what? Before I go into anything, so at the bottom of the ticker, everyone, even for Frankie, it's all about the event. I went on the website, mate. It's all there now. You can buy tickets on there, theticketailor.com. I had a look before the show, so all the details and the website address is all there. Before the Sheffield United game, West Ham Way event, Colour Factory, opposite Hackney Wick. Doors open at 11. Till 2:15, so that gives you 45 minutes to get to the game, and I believe, Frankie, it's only 10-minute walk, isn't it, mate, from there?
It is, so that's when the event will finish, but the venue will stay open right up until kickoff time. So anyone who wants to sort of go to the bar and have a few more drinks, a little bit longer and a bit closer to kickoff time, then they are very welcome to do that.
I tell you what, I shouldn't be saying it, but if I lived that close and for one reason or another I couldn't get a ticket, I could just go to the event and then perhaps go home or watch it in a park. You know, you can do that.
Yeah.
Because the event, I can't. I used to love it because I do live far away, but I used to get there early, 11, had a table, and for me, it's all about the stories with the players. And you can personally send them questions, get things signed, and it's just a good atmosphere. And it's a nice, cozy little area, little room we used to have. So I suppose Colour Factory, I mean, I haven't seen it. It's probably going to be a lot bigger, maybe, than the old Leytonstone pub that they used to have. But I just like it. I think it's kind of, that's what it's all about, I think. And for me, if it was a non-match day in the middle of the week, I miss a lot of those because I just can't get back, you know. I finish work at 5:30, 6, and a lot of those events where I think Alan Devishire's doing one in next week, yeah, I couldn't do it. But for this one, if you are going to go for the match anyway, you can do it. You can do both, and it kind of all makes sense, doesn't it?
It does, mate. I think we're trying to create something that will be part of people's match day experience for years to come. It wasn't worth putting something on that wasn't going to be able to be sustainable and have longevity. Didn't want something that would just burn out. We wanted to make sure it was something that people would, always enjoy, and it becomes part of their everyday match day experience, mate.
Yeah. So before we get into it, I just remembered another thing.
You got two. No, go on.
Will there be any food or snacks? Because with the VIP tables, I used to get a pizza. I remember that. Yeah.
Yes. So this is downstairs in the main area, but also up in the VIP, you'll have a QR code. They've basically got 4 food outlets inside the venue itself. So there's burger and chips, but it's really good quality burger and chips. People love the food in there. You've got hog roast. What else is there? There's like a souvlaki, like a Greek, like chicken wrap, gyros, that sort of stuff. So there's a lot of food options all available within inside the actual venue itself. So you can go to the bar, you can order your beer or drink or whatever you want, and you can also order your food. Or if you've got a table, you can scan the QR code and order food that way, mate. So, yeah.
Brilliant. Really looking forward to it, mate. Going to be my first game this season, Sheffield United. Should be great. Anyway, let's get cracking with the show. I saw the lineup, mate, and the way I've done it is the way I think we played it, mate. As you can see, I don't think there was a clear-cut striker up front. Antonio was on the wing a lot. Bowen was trying to get in there if he could. It was just one of those where, yeah, we didn't have anyone up front, but whenever it suited us, Antonio would trickle in there now and again and come out the box again. And Bowen similarly. Alvarez, mate, sometimes even Tony Gale was mentioning he looked like one of the 3 centre-backs. Sometimes he was the last one back, and even Zuma and Agard were ahead of him sometimes. So I can only imagine, mate, he was a kind of a sweeper, something like that. Souček played. Everyone knows what I think about him. Ward-Prowse, Paqueta. Couple of things to say, mate. I didn't realise. I saw some footage. He's gone up to Pep and given him a right handshake and a cuddle, and don't like to see things like that. But yeah, I mean, he was trying extra hard. He did have a good game. And then Kufal and Emerson, mate, because Alvarez was so much at the back, they were kind of sometimes more often than not trying to go up a bit more really than that kind of thing. I mean, when you saw the lineup, mate, is that how you think of it? Like that? I don't know what it. Yeah,
I think. No, I think you're probably right, mate. Alvarez was that sort of modern day halfback role that when you're on the offensive, he moves into the sort of central defensive midfield. When you're defending, he did drop into the sort of defensive role, dropped into the back, well, made it a back three in effect. But I have to say, mate, it's what was expected.
Yeah.
Same old story. Another team signs new player, Doku. He's in the starting lineup, out there, ready to go. Moisey gives it the old, well, it takes time nonsense, as he always does. But I can understand his lineup for this one in a sense of he wanted his tried and tested. He wanted people who know each other and know how they play together. And, Alvarez was already a bit of a fresh face in there, if you like, hasn't played too many games with us. Ward-Prowse as well. So, I think he wanted to try it and tested, keep it safe, keep it steady. And it was, what we all expected, wasn't it, mate? It was, you knew what was coming, really. We could have all guessed that lineup before the kickoff.
I think that's fine, but when you've got the ball, you need something. You need that person at the front to target and pass to. And without a striker really in the box, which we'll go into a little bit later on, you probably might not remember when Bowen had a counter attack and he looked up, there's no one in the box, and that kind of didn't go anywhere with
times,
that.
Actually, mate, there was a few times that happened. There was a few times where there was one where, and I'll give him. Antonio done a lot of hard graft, done a lot of work, done a little bit of skill, managed to hold on to the ball, held it up, looked around. Where is everyone? There was nobody there. I mean, he was our most obviously forward player, of course, but there weren't even anyone trying to get up with him. And while the crowd was all appreciating the bit of skill that Antonio had done, I was sitting there frustrated. I weren't clapping Antonio. I was like, get up there and help him out. Give him an option. The reins were well and truly strapped on today, as But again, it is City, so you can excuse some of it. But mate, for that, first half and for a lot of like the first start of the game, I don't think they was offering much. I felt like we could have been more adventurous. They looked almost asleep at times, and I really did feel like they were there to be got at. So I would have liked to have seen us play the game a little bit and realised that City might not 100% be up for this. And at that moment, I liked seeing us go for it a little bit more.
I think so. I think it's easy looking back, but if you take Souček out and put Kudos in as a starting lineup, so give Antonio a bit more up front and then not worry about the wings, you're more of a threat then, I think. But certainly at home, like you said, we could have done a bit better. 1-0 up at half time. I had a feeling the way my mind worked, I thought City going to equalise 44th minute. We do concede a lot around that period, 44, but 50 seconds in, it's kind of 1-1, but we'll go into that in a minute. But anyway, the player rating show, we're going to look at all the players and then roughly think what we think they should be. Half a mark is allowed. A lot of the time, you don't want to give 6 or 7. You want to give 6.
Do I look like the sort of person who'll give an half mark? No
quarter.
No way. The mark is the mark.
Perfect. I mean, if you've kind of really, really know in your mind what you want to give, that all the better. But Areola in goal, mate. For me, playing in front of that defence at times this season and even today, not really protected, not really any protection there. There's shots going in all over the place. And if I look at all 3 goals, maybe the first one, whenever a striker or winger like Doku hits it across the goal, you're always thinking, maybe you can get to it, maybe you can't. Some of the other ones, I don't think there's much he could have done. He did give a funny stare to the defenders afterwards, mate. So for me, Areola, I don't know, I'm just going to give that typical 6 out of 10 that you always give a lot of players, mate. I can't think of...
I think you'll be in for a bit of stick for that, mate. I think you'll find... I think you'll find most people, if you do look across other channels and other people's opinions, I think you'll find Areola will be 9s and 10s across the board. I think because of the amount he had to do. But there's something that he's got a habit of at the moment, mate, which means I'm not giving him that highest score. He's got this thing where he makes every single save look like a glory save at the moment. It could be a yard to either side of him, and he'll fly across his goal and make it look like Superman has just pulled the best save in the world off. Don't get me wrong, there was a couple of really good saves he did today, but he is milking save. And sometimes you just want him to hold on to the poxy ball. You just hold the thing. There was one time where he parried it out, and I thought, hold on, and it actually luckily fell to one of our players. But I felt in that moment, I thought if that fell to a City player, we're in trouble. You've got to try and hold on to the ball a little bit more. So I'm probably with you. I'm a bit higher than you. I'm probably more
7.
towards a 7. So I'll give him a 7 from me, mate.
Yeah, I think even the Fantasy Football League, mate, he's number 1 now because of the amount of saves and bonuses he's getting. I'm just thinking in my mind, you've let in 3, you're at home. He's probably not happy with it. But yeah, 6s
A lot
and
of people
7s.
blame him for or blame Aguerd for their second goal as well. But if you've got a
blatantly,
goalkeeper who's command,
yeah.
and I do blame Aguerd. There's no question Aguerd was at fault there. But also on the other hand, if you've got a confident goalkeeper who commands his area, and you want him dealing with stuff like that, do you know what I mean? If it's in the 6-yard box, I want my goalkeeper. I want him there. I just want him there. Anything outside the 6-yard box, yes, I want my defenders to be heading it away. So yeah, it wasn't Areola's fault. It definitely was Aguerd's fault. But I also just think a little bit like there's still that real issue with him commanding his area. I still question him aerially quite.
Yeah, definitely. I think. Yeah, I mean, I think he himself is still a bit nervous. We are as well. It's a difficult position, and yeah, I know what you mean. You get some goalkeepers that instantly are very confident, command their area, and you can see that. And he's one of those. He's still unsure in a lot of ways in his mind. Whether that's how much he's played with the back four, I don't know. But we'll see how the season progresses, mate. But you're kind of right with that. Next one is Mr. Kufal, our kind of right back stroke wing back today, who probably had the most difficult sort of task really out of the players in marking, especially because if you haven't watched him a lot, you don't know a lot about him. And but to give it, I mean, the good things about him, mate, he doesn't hide. He's there. He's trying his best. And apart from the goal, he was trying not to put him on that side, even though Doku is kind of both-footed. But he wasn't trying to show him that side of things. So for most of the first half, like you said, he kind of kept the danger at a minimum, really. He did set up, I believe, the Ward-Prowse goal, mate. Got an assist for that.
Great cross, yeah.
Really, really good, because each time we get into that position, which wasn't going to be that often, he had to make sure he did it well, and he chipped it over Antonio, and yeah, great finish from Ward-Prowse, and good cross from Kufal. I'll have to give him 7, mate. I think he had a torrid afternoon, and I know that the guy he's marking did score, but it could have been again a lot worse than that. And I mean, that guy's going to give a lot of defenders trouble throughout this season, I think, and. He gave everything out there 100%. He hasn't got the pace. He hasn't got the age on his side. He hasn't got the one or two other things that all the wingers that he's going to come up against have. But if you've done assist and you didn't shy away, mate, I think West Ham fans would kind of back it, kind of clap him off the pitch, I think. What do you think? 7 for me, I think.
Yeah, I mean, he gave it everything today. He did, and he had to, because if he didn't, then he would have been in trouble. But he gave it everything going forward. He gave it everything defensively. The only thing that I would say is, that goal, he backed off.
Yeah.
But that had happened a couple of times already. I'm a bit disappointed that the defence, one being Zuma, because it's Zuma's side. So Zuma's our right central defender. Zuma should have been seeing that was happening and making sure that he was right behind Sufal every time that player ran at him, Doku, because he had him on toast sometimes, mate. So, but I watched a fan channel review of it earlier on, and they said, sometimes you just got to tip your hat and say there was nothing we could have done about that. Do you know my biggest disappointment with Sufal today is he didn't take a booking. And even though he dealt with that really tricky, really high skillful wing, you don't want to get booked early. But for me, just after the second half, we've got caught flat-footed. We're half asleep. He's come running in, take a yellow card, just clatter him on the edge of the box. Before you get into your area, just clatter the geezer, take a yellow card, and then then let them take their free kick. Instead, he's backed off, and waited for him to take a shot, and the bloke's put it in the back of the net. For me, I don't agree with the fact that he did everything and you just got to take your hat off. For me, he could have done something. He could have gone straight into him, just cut that out, just gone, I'm not having this as soon as the game's kicked off for the second half. Fouled him, slowed everything down again while we're regrouping, and gone again. So, yeah, I'd like to see him take a yellow card there, mate. And but it's all hindsight, I guess. For me, I'm going to give him a 6.
Yeah, I think. I mean, Foden did 2-3 professional fouls, didn't he? When we were about to counter attack, which they do a lot.
No one.
No,
really lenient, and that's why I thought he could get away with it.
Yeah,
take him down. I mean, he was clatting into him most of the time and getting away with it. Just keep doing it, you know.
I think Alvarez got booked for something verbal, which again, I don't know why the referee did that. I mean, what the hell, man? I mean, and he's a CDM, and I thought, oh, we're going to have to keep an eye on him. But Kufal, another thing, we're too nice to Frankie, isn't it? Maybe
a bit naive nice today. We were, mate. Again, we were getting stuck in a little bit today. We was a bit spiteful. There was that little edge to West Ham back again today. We were getting in their faces, and we were being a bit not afraid to leave our leg in a little bit. But like I said, we was getting away with it. The ref weren't booking players. So for me, we should have just carried on and done that a little bit more and tested how far the ref can be pushed, because he didn't really want to put his hand in his pocket. So, yeah, I mean, sometimes, even my boy, he's only 5, but even he turned around to me and said, oh, we've kicked that Doku 12 times now. You know, even he was saying we just don't stop fouling him. But that was the right thing to do. We were getting in his face. We were getting... Bowen clattered him at one point, didn't he? Like, literally just come and wiped him out. So, yeah, like I say, 6 for me, just because I felt like he could have taken a booking and stopped that goal.
How much was Bowen helping him out on that side?
No, he was tracking. Yeah, he was tracking and he was helping him. And Bowen had a bit of a quiet game because of that.
Yeah, I think so, mate. Emerson on the other side with Agard. I suppose I've got to give him 6, I think, Emerson. I think we let in 3, and then the reason I gave Kufal an extra 1 is for the assist and marking what was the man of the match at the end of the day. With Emerson, it's hard but he did a lot of the mopping up for Agard, because Agard just went missing a lot of the time marking people. Emerson was there at the back, but then you lose 3-1 at home, and just 6 for me, I think. But he wasn't no worse or better than anyone else on the pitch largely, but for me, just 6 for me, I think.
It wasn't easy. He was a threat. Yeah. I thought he did create. He was unlucky not to get a goal, to be honest. He found himself in their box a couple of times.
He did.
Going forward, and even, Pete were turning around next to me going, Emerson there. He was really trying to push forward, give us an option and try and make things happen. So, but like you say, it's hard for him to push forward and make things happen when he's looking behind him and the defender who's there is going missing, like you said. So he couldn't quite be as aggressive as I think maybe he would have liked. But I was really happy with him today. I'm a little bit different to that. I felt like he had a real decent game. Attacking wise, I thought he'd done well. You are right. To concede 3, it's hard to give a defensive player a high score. But just because of his attacking, I'll probably give him a 7, mate.
It is tricky because apart from Agard, I think everyone... Yeah, they were all trying to get their bodies in the way, and it is a tricky game because City, they're going to beat more teams often than not. So it's a hard game for me, this one, doing the rating show for this one, because apart from Agard, 1 or 2 other small things, or don't really want to have a go at anyone, I think. So, 6 as a 7, Kufal, Emerson, I can kind of understand that, mate. Agard... mate, I don't know, unless someone sees anything different. I've got to give him 4 out of 10, mate. I monitor him a lot now. I watched the game and I don't see anything, mate, in terms of... Because as a defender, I want you to do your bread and butter. I want you to... Because he was kind of close to Haaland more often than not. And before the ball went in, sometimes he would have his hand on Haaland to show as though, I've got him, he's mine. But as soon as the cross went in... He was miles apart. Haaland was gone, mate, and then no one gave a shit who picked him up, whether it was Emerson. Sometimes I saw sort of some of the CDMs dropping in there. So I just like the old traditional close man marking, keeping an eye on things, or trying to read the situation. But you can see all the shots that are going at goal, all the crosses. No one's picking no one up, mate, and and he was at fault largely for the second goal, where it kind of, he tried to head it, couldn't reach it, and then I think Areola wasn't too happy with him. He had to come out and it went in. So 4 out of 10 for me, mate. He just looks a bit nervous every game for me. There's something missing with him.
Well, obviously the second goal was ridiculous, and I don't know what his jump was all about. He really got that totally wrong. So not good at all. The first half, obviously, that he had that one where Haaland had an open goal, and I thought he'd made just a miracle goal line clearance. If anything, I think Haaland got it more wrong than Aguerd got it right. I think Haaland more scuffed the shot back to him. And he should have just put it in. But he still got there. He still cleared the ball off the line and stopped a goal going in at that moment. So, tough one, mate. I probably agree a 4. It's either a 4 or a 5. But, if I felt he'd done something brilliant to stop that Haaland goal, then I'd probably give him a 5. But I think Haaland was more at fault than he done well. So, we'll go with a 4 on that one, mate.
Yeah, because the Greek guy, Mavropanos, he's on the bench now, and he can play right back, I'm told, and obviously as a centre-half pairing as well. I just get this feeling with Agar, something ain't right. The confidence has gone, or he's not happy about something, but it's a tough league. And I know he came from the French league, but it's not marking anyone. I mean, if we let in a goal or the cross comes in, there's no one sticking their leg in or trying to head it away from the strikers. And I know it goes for a lot of the clubs in the Premiership. Clean sheets are very hard to come by now. You saw goals, across the whole leagues. Everyone is scoring goals, and it's a case of got to score more than them, maybe. But I think there's there's definitely a better player in there than that, mate. But we'll see. Zuma, Captain Zuma, mate. It's difficult for me. Zuma. Again, like you said, if you concede a goal and you just mistimed your tackle, then you can see it, and then people have a go at you. If you're completely out of the picture, then you're blameless, but then you weren't there either. So this is a difficult one for me, between 6 and 7 for me. I suppose I have to give him a 6 again, I think. I don't know. I have to give him a 6 again. I mean, he didn't do much wrong, but I don't know. Is he your job as captain to keep the back four together? Is it your job to have a discussion with Agard? To say, listen, mate, keep close to me. I'm worried about you wandering off there. I mean, it's hard to find a proper captain these days who points fingers at people or puts their arm around them, tells them. So maybe that side of Zuma's game I don't see, because he's himself a very, very good defender. But again, we let in 3 goals and his partner was struggling a bit. So 6s and 7s for me, mate. 6, I think. Closer to 6 than a 7 for Zuma, I think.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I'm still not sure he's captain material. I know we've been all right so far. I don't see him vocal enough. I don't see him as this big character who, and not being funny, mate, but it is your job of it. We all knew, every single person in that stadium knew that halftime came. For once we'd held out and we'd gone in with a lead. We knew they were going to come out firing. We knew they'd come out fast. We all knew that. That player needs to walk out onto the pitch that second half and tell everyone, get on it, switch on straight away from kickoff, because they're going to come out as quick. Pep's going to scream at them and bollock them like you wouldn't believe. They're going to come out and try and get an early goal, and they're going to be on us quick. So he should have come out there and he should have been looking around to everyone, clapping them all and going, right, switch on, let's be on it. And instead he come out there as lethargic as everyone else, as asleep as everyone else. And while he's not fully to blame for the reason that we conceded straight after half time, I do look at a captain as that's your role, mate. Get everyone fired up, get them switched on, shout at them all and go, right, we're not going to concede this early goal. But he was asleep, mate. He was just as asleep as everyone else, and that's not captain material for me. And one of the big reasons why I think he deserves a 6 today. He also he had that little battle with Haaland, which he come out the better and won the ball, and everyone give it the zoo, whatever else. For the next few minutes after that, he looked wiped. He looked like he couldn't even. He was walking, and someone sort of gave him a bit of a pat on the back. If you would have asked him, if you'd have put a cat at half a yard in front of him, mate, you wouldn't have been able to get across to kick it because he was wiped, mate. He was literally dead on his feet. And I just thought, it weren't even like you had a running race with Haaland. It wasn't like they'd run from the halfway line back to our area. He'd literally just had a little bit of a tussle, a little bit of a battle with him, and he looked knackered. And I just thought, how fit are you? 100% fit at the moment. Something weren't quite right there for me. Still great aerially, still a great presence, still a really good player, still been very good so far this season. I don't want to put negatives on him. I don't want to start calling out the captaincy thing and causing unrest at this stage because, mate, we have just gone toe-to-toe with City, and for 45 minutes we were the better team. Well, not the better team, but we basically won the first half. But yeah, 6 for me. Want to see a bit more of a captain's performance from him.
Yeah, I think again in the last 15 minutes you saw. I mean, I won't say we're not fit, but certainly City looked a lot fitter in the last 10 minutes, 15 minutes, and don't know. Haaland suddenly, put up another level, didn't he? And they were, got a couple of goals, and obviously it's not easy defending the way we did. And then I think in the last 10 minutes. The legs had went a bit, didn't it? Some of our players in our teams, I think, even though we did some substitutions and things like that. But it was difficult.
We'll get on to that because I've got a lot to say about that. So,
yeah. Souček, again, it's my personal thing. He's not one of my favourites. I think going forward we could do with him out and Kudos in or someone more attacking in. And again, I go back to if he's in there, if Ward-Prowse is in there, if Alvarez is in there, then a lot of shots at goal for me. You got to stop all those things, and 5 for me, mate. Again, I don't know if I don't see nothing from him. I don't see any great clearances, tackles, or even trying to score from a set piece. Or I don't know. I know he tries. He's running around, and he played an international midweek. I think he scored a cracker as well, I heard. I don't know, 5 for me, nearer to 5 than 6 for me again. I know it's difficult for everyone today, but I don't know. I like to see him do a bit more, not like Rice because that's difficult, but certainly play like a solid CDM. And that goes back to being soft again. Souček is very soft, very nice guy. I just want someone in there, a bit like Højbjerg, mate, to play that type of role, to get in their faces and get booked. And 5 for me, mate, again. I don't know. Didn't see anything. Yeah.
I normally defend him, don't I, mate? But he was really poor today. He had one of his really off games. That moment in the second half where it was down the right-hand side and he had a 5-yard pass to play to Bowen and just give the ball away. Was a terrible pass, and the whole crowd just was like, oh. And you knew it was coming. He had so much time, and at that moment, we desperately needed to find another goal, and we had a few breakaways. Antonio, when he ran through one-on-one, Emerson, when he'd run through, and you just needed him to play a pass to a West Ham player. And to just give the ball away like he did was really, really poor. I don't actually get what his role is anymore, mate. With Alvarez playing where he plays, and like you say, you've got Ward-Prowse who does a lot of covering at the back. I don't really understand what Souček's meant to be doing. In theory, when you've got Ward-Prowse who's, a bit of a box-to-box and is, a workhorse and an engine in there and chasing everything down, and you've got Alvarez, I thought Souček would have been let off the leash. I thought he'd have been that edge-of-the-box type player again. I thought he'd have been right up there. And, if we're playing the ball out wide, I thought he'd have been a target man in the middle. We've actually seen Souček at times play more forward than Antonio in roles he's played with David.
Yeah.
I thought he would have been that role again. I thought he'd have been right up there, mate. But he wasn't. It was almost like you had 2 CDMs today with Souček and Alvarez, and then with another workhorse in Ward-Prowse. While it was effective in the first half, and we obviously kept City out, which is a tough thing to do. It was really overload for me defensively, and I will only excuse it because it was Man City today. I don't want to see Alvarez, Ward-Prowse, and Souček in the starting lineup, all three of them,
Yeah.
in any other games this season, other than when we go to the Etihad. That's it. I don't want to see it.
I definitely, yeah, I agree with that. I think some people were trying to make excuses for him, saying it's Rice, it's something else, but like you said, I don't see him as a CDM. He's not ruthless enough. He doesn't intercept any passes. He doesn't do those strong 50-50 challenges. He doesn't go up for, well, I'm trying to think if I saw him come up for any corners, but he certainly, I don't remember him a lot of times recently kind of actually he's missed a few chances in some games, so every player in every game is so different, like you said, which confuses me in terms of their role. So like you said, some games he's in there trying to get on the end of it and it doesn't go in, and that's another issue. But then today didn't really see that side of his game. So yeah, what side of a game is it? I mean, would you have liked to have seen Fornals in there instead of him, maybe? I don't know. Yeah.
It's a tough one,
Sure.
isn't it, mate? It is a tough one. I can't really work. I think Moyes is going to really struggle to work out what our best team is. I don't think we've got that much of a balanced squad, if I'm totally honest with you, mate. I know we've got options and everyone's saying that we've got a big squad. I'm not sure how balanced this squad is right now. I think we've got a bit of a job to find a way that we can accommodate all of our best players onto the pitch at the same time. I think there's a lot of players who similar roles, similar places, similar positions. It's going to be really tricky, mate. But what should that midfield be? Do you need? For me, I always thought it was going to be Alvarez, Ward-Prowse, Paqueta, but then I thought we'd have Bowen and Benrahma. And then we'd have Antonio down the middle. It gives us that extra attacking player. Alvarez, Souček, Ward-Prowse, Paqueta, mate, it's just too much. Too much.
Yeah, not enough creativity there. Snazzy, evening all, mate. He says you're spot on, Frankie. Next, mate, is Ward-Prowse. 7 for me. Probably the easiest rating for me to give so far. Scored a goal. And mate, his set pieces, that Zuma header, world class save, and he's picking them each time, and even that short corner, the Bowen one, I was fuming when I don't like short corners. It drives me up the wall, but they definitely worked on something in the first half. That it kind of worked. I mean, I'll go as far as to say I haven't seen many take corners and stuff like. He hasn't had a chance to take a lot of free kicks yet.
No, that's true.
Obviously, that's his kind of real.
It says a lot that we don't get free kicks in forward positions because we're never up the end of the pitch. But you're right.
Was it driving up the wall, the number of corners City were getting? It was so many, mate. So many corners, and I don't like defending against them. But 7 for me. Great finish. Again, I was thinking if that's Souček, he weren't going to go in. Improvised finish. He quickly got down wherever he had to, and Trevor Brooking, like from 1980, slipped it in, and long may it carry on. And it looks like he's loving playing for the club. He's getting some kind of bonding with the fans. You get that feeling that some players, like you said, doesn't matter how good they are or how good the club is, some players just bond more with a certain club. You can't think of it why it is. I mean, he could have signed for Liverpool and it ain't going to work out for him, but for us, I think we suit each other in some way. He's a model professional, which Moyes likes, England player. And he's worth 10 goals minimum a season, whether that's assists or goals. Really happy with him so far, mate. Long may that carry on. Touchwood, he doesn't get injured a lot. And 7 out of 10 for me, mate. I mean, difficult game, but he got a goal. He could have set another goal up. So yeah, he's doing all right. And he's offering a lot, isn't he, mate?
Doing well, mate. Far better than I could ever have imagined. I knew he'd be a decent player. I didn't realise he was going to be this good for us. Like you say, I think he gets West Ham. I think we appreciate how hard he works, and he gets that. That's what we like from a player. When he always said, I'm a grafter, I'm a runner, I'm a workhorse. It's easy to say these things, but he practices what he speaks, mate, because he's everywhere on that pitch. If we're forward, he's there. If we're on the defence, he's there. He puts his body on the line. He blocks so many shots. So at the Brighton game, sitting behind the goal, the amount of shots that boy blocks is just unbelievable. He is a fantastic player. Without a shadow of a doubt, our best signing. I just think he's superb, mate. If we take him out of the way that we play at the moment and take away his assists and his goals, we're nowhere near doing as well as we are. He is pivotal to this better start that we've had so far this season. And I'll give him an 8 today, just because I feel like he was our best player, and had another really good game. The goal was great. He had to run to get there. He broke his neck to get there. Yeah, no, really, really happy with him, mate. And it's so nice. I remember back in all the years supporting West Ham, we used to get a corner. Come on, you Irons. We'd never, ever, ever score from a corner. Ever. Never. We could go for a whole season and not score from a corner. So we always used to sing Come on, you Irons, and in total vain, because we never done anything from any corner we ever had. Now, every time you get one, you feel like you're going to score a goal. And it's quite a refreshing change, mate, I have to say.
I mean, Agard should have scored, shouldn't he? That chance, Bowen. He just had to get something on it, and he didn't. And Agard has already scored. I think Zuma has probably already scored, if I might be wrong. So that, again, is happening more and more regularly. Antonio, not sure if he's benefited from a corner yet, but certainly the other lads are. And once that Greek boy comes in, he's a big lad, scores goals, volleys them in from 20 yards. Maybe he's the one with a bit of a nasty physical streak. We'll see. But he certainly got a stature and things like that, mate. So yeah, Ward-Prowse, because he's scoring so many goals and setting them up. Your son's probably getting familiar with him, isn't he? Becoming a favourite slowly.
Likes him. As soon as he scored today, he stood up on the chair and done the golf swing. He's really taken a shine to him, mate. He likes him a lot.
Yeah, scoring goals is certainly popular with the children. You said Ward-Prowse's man of the match. Paqueta had a good game. I think he was a little bit below Ward-Prowse. I think he's just, again, I mean, is he CDM? Is he a bit more further up? Is he a winger? But I think he's trying to play that extra bit for Pep. And I think, he's trying to make things happen. And he was aggressive, certainly against Foden. I saw he's trying to give him a good challenge, win the ball back, not just back off and pretend you're marking him. He's actually going in there trying to get it off him.
Puts his foot in. Wins the ball.
He's quite strong. He
really
can hold
strong.
people off, and so I'm happy with him. I gave Ward-Prowse 7. That's why I like halves in it. 6.5 Paqueta. 6.5 for me. I think he's. I don't want to talk about if he's going to go in January or after, but for me, he's an important member of the team, I think, and fairly reliable, like Prowse. I think he more often than not he'll. The only bad game he'll have is if he's got caught with the ball in the area trying to do something and you lose it. Apart from that, I think he's one of those, when you're in a tight corner, you can give him the ball and he won't lose it, and he can. So I'm happy with him. 6.5. I'm fine. I think he's one of the first names on the team sheet now, and I thought he did all right, didn't he? I thought he's all right.
Good game, mate. Really good game. It's nice that we've got ball players in that midfield now that you can knock it around and play some nice football, because we haven't had that for a while. Actually, that combination of Ward-Prowse, Paqueta and Alvarez is very good. They love knocking it around. And actually, Emerson gets involved as well. Soufal gives them an outlet with those three, that if they get pressed, that Soufal does give them an option to ping it out wide. But yeah, those players can play a bit of football, mate, and it's a pleasure to watch. It's nice to see. You're right in that his biggest risk is that he'll mess something up by being too overly confident or trying something he doesn't need to. He almost did that today. We went 1-0 up. The ball came to him. He went to try and do a bit of skill. I think if he had come off, I think he'd have given the ball away to a City player and we'd have been banging trouble. Luckily, he missed the ball when he tried to do the skill, and everyone sort of went, oh, and then he thought, actually, no, just at that time, all you wanted was simple football and get to half time. That's all you wanted. Didn't want to be entertained. We talk about entertainment. I want to be entertained. In that moment, I didn't want to be entertained. I wanted simple football and battling to get us to half time. That's what I wanted to see. So, there's a time and a place for all the tricks and for the entertainment stuff. But in terms of knocking the ball around, in terms of opening up space, in terms of playing the ball out from the back, I think we're on to a winner with Alvarez, Ward-Prowse and Paqueta. I think they've all got a good understanding of each other. And if we can get people ahead of them, we'll be a dangerous side. But we've got to give them the next ball. We can't just rely on them three playing triangles between each other all the time. We've got to give them the attacking option as well.
I think you're right. I think Paqueta is even better away from home. He's really good away from home when you don't have possession and you give it to him when you're defending and he brings it out and kind of puts his foot on it, I think.
But he is great. He, like you say, what I love about him is he don't just jockey a player. He puts his foot in there and wins the ball. He nicks the ball off him. He don't just stand there and watch and wait. He does. So really, really good. I obviously gave Ward-Prowse the 8, and I gave him the 8 because I wanted to give Paqueta the 7, really. So
perfect, mate. Perfect. Alvarez again, 6.5, 7 for me. Mate, 6.5. He does his job. He's a typical CDM. He doesn't want to do anything more than that, and he can only perform the role according to what the manager told him. If the manager tells him you're not going any further than that, or you're not doing that, or whether he's there to protect a centre back pairings that struggles more often than not, I don't know. But for me, mate, he looks reliable so far. He came off with them. I don't know if it was a groin or was it something a bit less than that. I don't know what it was. Mate. Inside groin he kept touching, or was it something else? I don't know. But I mean, a lot of international games again for a lot of the players difficult. But I can tell that he's all right. He's reliable, and hopefully he'll. Yeah, I know a lot of clubs are after him, looking at him. But yes, about 6.5 for me, mate. I think he's settled in all right. But yeah, we'll look at the injury. We'll see what happens, isn't it?
It's a worry, because like I said, he actually moves the ball better from that position than Declan Rice did. He looks up quicker. He wants to play the ball faster. He wants to get the ball moving. He's happy not just to play the sideways pass. He'll play it one more if he has to. He's happy to play it across field if he has to. He's got a great range of passing and he gets the ball moving, which we've massively lacked in recent times. So, I do think positionally, he's a bit lost at the moment. I think that role he played today, he's always looking over his shoulder. You see him keep checking himself all the time. He keeps looking back as if to say, am I where I'm meant to be or should I be someone else? He's not quite 100% fitting into the role yet, but that takes time. But I think that him coming off was the first part of the undoing of us in that second half. Obviously, I say is the second part. The goal that we let in straight after half time was the first part, but the second, which really killed us, was Alvarez. There was something that we'll go into in a minute that put the nail in the coffin, but Alvarez was getting injured was certainly the second part of us unfolding in that second half today.
Yeah, I think once Souček's back to the bench and Kudus comes in, then Alvarez, his role will be more clear. It's not easy saying, God, why is Souček in the team? And then we got someone else in there, CDME as well. But I think he was all right. Bowen, quiet, difficult game. Didn't see much of him, and I know he had that corner which Agar nearly scored from. For me, Bowen, I'm going to give him 6, mate. 6 out of 10 for me, mate, Bowen. I think he set himself reasonably high standards. You do see him in previous games. Obviously, he's scored a good few goals. He set them up. I didn't see enough on the attacking side from him. I think you mentioned that he was trying to help out at the back. I didn't see too much of that. I did see him running and trying to block, but I don't know, as an attacking... I saw him once, when he went up the field counter-attacking and there was no one up there. That kind of fizzled out. So, in terms of attacking and creating or anything, I didn't see much of him. So, it's only purely because I expect a little bit more from him and he's only set that level up himself. So, I'd give him 6, mate.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. I think that's a very fair score. We spoke about him in the week on the stream. And we said that the reason why maybe you'd be okay with him going for big money to another club is that he has games where he goes missing. Today, I wouldn't say he was missing today. in the corner, he made a few things happen. He done some really nice bits of skill. He caused them the odd problem here and there. Is it his fault when we're not really that far up the pitch? We're not really got players up there with him if he did get the ball. Basically, we looked at him as a outlet that we'd hit it out wide and let him run onto it and just hope that he would get something off of it. If that's what your role is all game, is just to try and feed off of, you know, hitting hopes, then can you blame him for not being that effective today? But because he didn't really do anything other than chase those hit and hopes, then, you know, you've got to look at giving him a 6, mate, really. So
Okay, before we come to the last player, a few comments firing in. Epic, hope you're doing okay. Epic is saying we can't score goals from open play. So, yeah, I mean, it's early, Epic. Let's see. Good. I mean, we've got a lot of games coming up now, mate. You've got Europa game, we've got the Carabao Cup, we've got Liverpool, Newcastle coming up. So let's see how we set after those 4 games. I think we'll know a bit more about the team and how he's setting up and how Kudos and other people. Yeah, let's give it a bit of time. Mark, hope you're doing good. Mark Gallagher saying, swap Souček for Kudos. The team looks... Yeah, I think it's not rocket science, mate. I think a lot of people would give more than Souček at the moment. Let's go back to that last player. It's going to be Antonio. Antonio for me. Antonio, what did I see of Antonio? He had that chance when he was 1-1 and I knew he wasn't going to score because he doesn't score those. He gets the ones where he suddenly gets it quickly, chests it down and scores, or those ones where... Yeah. Then he's not going to score, and he... Very poor touch that, took it away from him, and the goalkeeper was able to gather. On the wing a lot of the time. So I don't know what his instructions were, but he wasn't in the penalty area enough for me. And that's why in my team lineup, I put no one up front. There wasn't anyone up front. If Bowen had a chance, he'd go in there for a bit. Antonio would go in there. Again, like you said, he worked hard. And it's team instructions. I don't know what the team instructions are for him. 6 out of 10 again, mate. 6 out of 10 again for me, I think, yeah.
I'm going to go for a 5, mate, with Antonio. Yeah. A frustrating one for me. There were times, there was one, right, down first half, down the right-hand side, you know, I can't remember whether it was Soufal or whether it was Ward-Prowse who played the ball across the box early, and he was 15 yards, 20 yards behind the pace. And he looked up and he went, if I'd have been where I should have been, that ball would have come to me. But he was lazy, couldn't be bothered to get up with play, looked tired, looks unfit, looks a little bit disinterested. He had one of them Antonio games for me today. However, I will say, when I said about how, you know, there was a first part of our undoing, which was them scoring. Second part was Alvarez injury. The final nail in the coffin was taking him off, because even though he wasn't an out-and-out striker, he was the only thing that was making things happen. He was the only outlet. He was the only player getting onto the end of balls. Even though he had a really poor game, bringing Benrahma on and Kudus in midfield and taking our only real striker off the pitch, that was it. We never had another chance of scoring a goal after that. So while I think people in the stand thought this is a positive substitution, Antonio hasn't looked great. Bring Benrahma on, awful once he came on, was really poor. And also bring Kudus on. Kudus was ineffective, had to play so deep again because Doku was giving Soufal nightmares. So he was worrying about that and doing a lot of work in our own box at times, Kudus. And we had no outlet after Antonio come off, mate. That was it. It was game over. We'd basically taken any chance we had of getting up the pitch, we subbed them off. So I don't really understand it, to be honest with you. And weird substitution for me.
It is weird. I think Benrahma, it's getting worse for him, mate. I know he does it. I know he's virtually non-existent when you're playing a top 4, top 6 team. I know that's what he's like, but I don't know what's going on with him. I don't know, mate. Didn't see anything from him. What do you think about Mabumu not getting a chance or a few minutes here and there, mate?
I don't think he's ready yet, mate. I don't think he's ready.
Okay.
He wasn't even for me the most impressive player out of the youth squad of last season. I think there are players with more promising talent than what he's got. The fact that we've only really got Antonio as the type of striker that fits with us, and Danny Ings, I think, will be the reason why this will be our last year of this European football run. We needed that other striker, mate. I think a lot of us thought maybe Kudus might be that man who Moyes transforms into an Antonio type player. From today, we know that that's not his game, and isn't going to be his game. This myth that if Antonio got injured, Bowen would play up top. In the way we play, that won't work either. So we are really relying on Antonio for all of this season in all competitions, and I don't think he'll be enough to carry us to the heights that we might have hoped at the beginning of this season, mate. It's a shame because I think we've got a solid defence now. If Mavropanos can come in and do better than Aguerd, then we've got a real good defence on our hands. We've got a real good CDM in there. We've got a real good midfield. We've got pace on the wings with Bowen, maybe Kudus out on the other side. The only piece of the jigsaw that's still glaringly obviously missing, mate, is a proper striker, someone big, strong, can put themselves about and give us another option instead of Antonio. So, yeah, a bit of a shame for me, mate. Just showed our glaringly obvious issue that we have, which is West Ham's always issue, that we never have an out-and-out goal scorer for whatever reason. So,
I mean, the fullbacks for me does need looking at because Emerson, Kufal over the whole season is going to be difficult. What we got after that, we got Creswell, we've got Johnson, and then I know that Greek boy can play fullback, so perhaps he can come in and see how that looks. And Moyes, I think, in his back, he does want to play wing backs and 3 centre backs. I don't know, I've just got this feeling that he's been trying to get that Kovacic over the line. Last couple of windows hasn't happened. So like you said, we like any other club, we do need a couple of areas looking at in the next window. And if Benrahma can be sold, or Fornells can be sold for some money, we can reinvest that into the team. Paqueta, we'll see what happens. But what so far I can see, like you mentioned, it's a good squad. And dare I say it, even with Declan Rice in the team, I think we're slightly better all round, the squad and the team in different positions. And I think we had a bit more money to go for that striker. I don't know why we didn't, and we are in a lot of competitions. We'll see what happens. We've got Lincoln away. It is a competition where we should be able to do well depending on the type of draws we get. So we'll see. I think it looks like we are comfortably a top 10 team. I don't want to look at bottom 10. I think looks like we've got a bit about us to be top 10. Top 6, I don't know. I think it'd be difficult. Top 10, and if we are top 10 around the January window and in the cups, and then we buy 1 or 2 and go again, you never know. It's always quite a close league. But what was disappointing for me, Frankie, was obviously I hate Tottenham. They're 1-0 down, 12 minutes added, and I told my son with 4 minutes, I said they're going to win 2-1. They won't even draw. They'll win 2-1. They won. So that's not good. They're 3 ahead of us. Brighton, mate, they're carrying on. They've done United. United are a pretty sad story at the moment. So that's that. Newcastle won with the help of a penalty. They're still behind us. So all in all, we got Liverpool, Newcastle coming up. It's still good. It's still good. And like you said, we've got Kudus and that Greek boy to come into this team starting. So I think it's all right. It's all right. But could have been you lose 3-1 at home. You're always going to look at a few things and not be happy about it. But we'll see what happens. And I don't know if this season we're going to see anyone from the youth team come in or not. That's always nice to see. But I think we're nicely in the chasing pack. When the horse race starts, you're kind of just behind the leaders, aren't you? You're not in the bottom 10. You're not in the bottom 5. You are we're seventh or eighth, and I'll take that because, like I said, those two boys have got to come into the team yet. And kudos, it's a big, big signing for us. You saw what Doku done for them. We cheekily did inquire about him and bid 30 million, and obviously they knew that he's going City 55, 52 million, and he looked all right. He looked good. So yeah, I think it's all right when you look at overall. I think, oh yeah, we'll take it on the chin today. And but going forward, I don't want Souček that much in there. Worried about Agard. Apart from that, if those two boys come in, mate, like you said, it looks all right, doesn't it? It looks all right.
It does, mate. We've got the makings of a good little team now. Like you say, it's a mid-table team for me. Just because that there's too many important players in there that if you lose any of them, I think it would be a massive blow. If you lost Ward-Prowse, massive blow. If you lose Antonio, massive blow. If you lose Zuma, massive blow. There's so many positions that we just don't have that bit of cover there. Like you say, could you imagine Cresswell playing a match now at Anfield?
That's what I mean. That's what I mean,
that?
mate.
You ain't seen him for however long, and all of a sudden, if you Emerson can't make the game for next week for whatever reason, and you're lining up at Anfield with Cresswell, who knows what would happen? So, we've got a few issues there. We've got a great first 11. We've got a bit of backup. We've got we've got some players in there that should be able to do a good job in Europe. But like we say, mate, if we want to start winning or continue get back to winning football matches again, this Alvarez, Ward-Prowse, and Souček thing, that's for me what needs to change. That one of those has to come out, and we obviously know that man is it's Souček, and we need to get a more attacking-minded player on that pitch. It's that simple, mate.
Definitely. Snazzy Azzy's asking if we go to Anfield and with similar tactics and lose. No, I won't be happy, mate. I don't like these tactics. Souček, someone else has got to come in. I think it's already. You can look at Brighton and other clubs. Every club has got a dodgy defence. I'm telling you, you've got to go at them. All right, I know you're going to have to defend, but we can't give away possession. The Brighton ratios, that was weird, and we kind of done really well. I don't think that tactic. I'm hoping Moyes isn't overconfident on that. What happened that day is going to happen like that every game. We got to have a bit more about us while we're attacking, and certainly a target up front who can hold it, let the people join in, and that kind of thing. So no, Snazzy Azzy, I don't want to defend too much against Liverpool. I mean, it'll be hard. But no, we've got to have something a bit more about us than we mate attacking wise.
Yeah, Anfield's a tough place to go. But there's a lot to be taken away from the fact that they are blowing hot and cold again. My lodger, who I live with here, is a Liverpool fan, and he said their first half performance today was terrible. Do you know what worries me, mate? I think Man City was terrible in the first half against us. Not terrible. They weren't the Man City that we sometimes know. They looked half asleep. They didn't look 100% on their game. The point is, similar to Wolves today, going in 1-0 up when you've got an opportunity to take these teams on when they're not that interested, you've got to be confident enough to try and push on a bit more. We all went in, us and Wolves would have both gone in today at half-time going, didn't we do well? 1-0 at half-time, fantastic. You've got to do more than that. When they're not firing, put it on them. Try and get a second goal. Try and, and that's how you win these matches. If you think Wolves today and West Ham all think going half time today 1-0 will be all right. Well, you wait till they come out in the second half. And both Liverpool and Man City turned it on in the second half and ended up winning quite comfortably and made it look like it weren't even a contest in the end. So you've got to be confident enough that when these teams are not firing, take it to them, like we did when we went to Anfield and won for the first time with Lanzini and all that. Do you remember going up there and we just give it to them all of a sudden? And it was brilliant. We've got to be prepared to do the same. Unfortunately, there's this thing that we all have that, it's Liverpool. You go 1-0 up, sit back, just get to half time, that'll do us. And then you come in, then they come out second half after being fired up by Klopp or Pep, and it's a different story, mate. So, that's my thing with it, is if they're not on their game next week and we see that early on, then try and take the game to them a bit, mate. We've really got to, and to answer what Snazzy Azzy said there, no, I'm not happy with 11 men behind the ball. We're not in that position anymore where we're looking at is goal difference going to make a difference. We're too early on in the season for that. You want to protect your goal difference a little bit. You don't want a massively negative goal difference. Who knows what's around the corner? But try and give them a game, mate. I think we've got the players to do it. I really do. I look at that team and how we played some football today, and I think if you take the reins off them and give them a bit of freedom, I think we'll give teams a lot of trouble, mate. So, but we know what'll happen. It'll be the same starting lineup that we saw today. That will line up at Anfield with no changes, and we'll get the same turnout. That's what it'll be.
Well, we've got to check out Alvarez, haven't we? We don't know why he came off. We don't know. We'll look at that. Otherwise, Souček will carry on. And Liverpool, they were 1-0 up early. It could have been 2 after 9 minutes. It's the bench with these teams, Frankie. Their benches are scary, like Núñez and all those other guys that come on in the last 20 minutes with so much pace. That's what undoes you, and that's why... Yeah, all that time they're adding 12 minutes for 12 added minutes. I mean, that's nuts, mate. Sheffield United are struggling with a small squad and things like that. But we'll see what happens. But yeah, thanks for joining me, mate. That wraps up Man City. We've done the player ratings. We've done the other show. On to the next match, and we'll see what happens, mate. Yeah, take care. Thanks a lot, mate.
You bringing the microphone to the first event, mate? I want some jazz content live from the event.
What it is, I was thinking about it, but I wasn't sure what I was allowed, what I wasn't. So we'll see. I don't think I did it before because I don't think I had a channel back in those days. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens, mate. One more little. Oh, Melissa's just coming right at the end. Yep, that's what it is, Melissa. Let's put it to the back and look forward, and hopefully Alvarez is okay, and we can see Kudus and Mavropanos joining in and push on a bit more, mate. So yeah, thanks a lot,
Tony's
Frankie.
Cousin, mate. That's the question. Is it Tony's cousin? What a player he was.
I think he's the closest player to have a nearly crack a crossbar or a post.
That bar was unbelievable, weren't it?
Jesus, goalkeeper's like lucky I didn't get my hand to that, mate. Bloody hell. Brilliant. Anyway, we're going to have to go. Catch up on the pre-recorded if you guys want. But, yeah, Sheffield United game, West Ham Way event. I'll be there with my boys. And, yeah, we'll have some fun. And I'll, try to cover it if I can and things like that. Ian Bishop coming down. Martin Allen. Looking forward to it, mate. And then, see you then in a couple of weeks, isn't it?
Yeah, that's it, mate.
All right, take care then. See you later. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.